I had never seen a badger before in my life. So naturally, one evening, I grabbed my gear and went out with a friend to check it out. Soon it got dark and cold as it was still early spring. I was shooting at the highest ISO possible and there was a lot of noise in the video. Just as we were about to give up, a dark figure appeared out of the den. My very first badger sighting. It felt magical. At first, the badger was cautious, sniffing the air in our direction. But eventually, it stepped out and carried on with its nightly routine. This moment fueled my desire to see and photograph the badger in better light. After this encounter, I visited few more times at this entrance, but I wasn't lucky enough. I am now going to photograph the badgers. Now it's raining a bit, but I still decided to come anyway. I set up my camera. There's the badger. There were many entrances to the den stretching few meters, and I quickly learned that it wasn't always easy to predict which hole the badgers would use. So I set up a trail camera at the most active entrance. Every time the camera was triggered by some movement, I would receive an email with a photo. It helped me monitor the badger activities and keep track of their timing without disturbing the badgers. They were actively cleaning their den and changing the beddings inside the set for a very important reason, which I will explain a bit later. One day, I even tried with my hide and I was very close but I didn't see the badger. However, my trail camera captured it for a brief moment around the same time I was there, just a little head popping out of the den. At this point, they were mostly active after 9 p.m. and would return to the den between 5 to 6 a.m. I came out many mornings around 3 or 4 a.m. and again many evenings after 8 or 9 p.m. Sometimes I got nothing, no sightings at all. That's the part of the deal with wildlife photography. But sometimes it all came together. One morning while I was waiting at the location, I was finally able to see and photograph the badger. So, good morning everyone. I am going to the badger place. While I waited for the badgers, I would often see a vole or a mouse around the bushes, and this morning I could see one mouse. One morning while I was waiting at the location, was finally able to see and photograph the badger. Our eyes met and we both paused for a few seconds. Badger came from the bottom ridge to this ridge kind of uphill, and then it was there staring at me. Since this moment lasted only a few seconds, I tried to capture as many images as I could. Then the badger immediately went inside the den. I was a bit worried if I had disturbed the badger, but to my relief, from the trail camera footage I could see the badger was continuing its daily activity around the same time from the next day. So a badger has dug here very recently. It's probably from yesterday night or today, and it's very fresh, as you can see. So you can see the badger has been doing some activities here. I'm pretty sure this is from today, and there is also something here. I think the badger tried to take this new bedding. They use this for their nest, this kind of stuff. Badgers are very clean animals, and they usually change their bedding in the sett, in the home where they live, the den. They will clean up all the leaves and the twigs and this kind of things that they use for nesting and bedding. As the badgers are omnivorous, so they are kind of like the bears. Badgers have very sharp claws, so they like to dig the ground just like these and try to eat whatever they find, from earthworms to some roots from the plant and anything they find in the ground. Even though they have very poor eyesight, they have a very good sense of smell, and the claws are also very sharp, and I think they are one of the toughest animal. But this is so cool to see that it's very fresh, and it's probably from this night. One of my friends suggested to try and capture the badgers using a nearby bridge, which was close from the den area. So one day, around 1 a.m. in the middle of the night, we head out and waited around the bridge, sitting in the middle of this small road. I wanted to capture and show how these wild animals live among us in the urban areas. At first, it was a brown hare who decided to show up. It kept us entertained and gave us some good photography opportunity. Soon some people returning home after their night out, as it was a weekend. And finally, it was the badger. It was very quick, and this whole scene lasted only a few seconds, but I was quick enough to capture an image. One late spring, I got a notification in my mobile that the camera was triggered, and when I checked my email, I saw a photo of two badger cubs, and this was the first time I ever saw tiny cubs of any animal in the trail camera, and it was very exciting for me. Later that day, I went to collect the memory card. I couldn't believe my eyes by seeing what the camera has captured. I finally discovered why the badgers were so busy cleaning the den during the early spring. They were preparing it for something very special, the arrival of their babies. And not just two, but four tiny little cubs of the badgers. I was filled with excitement. There were footage of them playing right outside the main entrance in broad daylight. They were super cute and playful. I think that's a big litter for badgers and incredibly rare to see. The small family of two badgers are now a big family of six. And this was probably the reason the badger parents were very active during the early spring. That changed everything for me. I made it my mission to photograph this badger family through the summer. And for me, this was just the beginning of a story I hope to keep telling, of Helsinki's hidden wildlife and the quiet beauty of waiting. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, consider subscribing for more wildlife adventures. See you on the wild side.